Here at Hiker Trailer, we have 4 different core models, plus 2 new models that we just launched this fall.
Oh, exciting.
This is our extreme off-road model. This is kind of top of the line, most heavy duty, kind of built to go anywhere, do anything. And this one we've actually co-branded with Goal Zero and integrated some of their new power stations that they launched this past year.
Cool.
So we can go over some of the bells and whistles, but this is a pretty typical build, especially for kind of the average overlander.
Okay.
Because there's some key features that you're always going to want to have with you on a trip.
Absolutely.
So I guess we'll start at the front.
Yeah,
and then just work our way back. So in the front here, the unique thing about the extreme off-road models we can do this double ton box setup. So typically the smaller one in the front, this is where we're going to do battery setups, or people use this for kind of tool storage, wheel chucks, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
We don't have a battery on this unit, obviously, because we have the Goal Zero power station in the back.
Gotcha.
So this is just a really good extra side for utility and additional storage. We also have 4 corner stabilizers. You can see the front 2 are already down here. Because depending on where you camp, or if you find a spot that's a little uneven, you could actually pretty much level this out almost.
Oh, nice. So these are strong enough to hold the full weight of the trailer.
And as we do more of a tour around our facility, you might actually see some of our guys in production changing tires just by jacking them up on the front and the back here. So
very cool.
Another good scenario, if you did have to change a tire, you can drop your stabilizers and get enough clearance to remove the entire wheel.
Yeah, I ran a trailer for a little while. We won't say what company because it wasn't very good. But I could not do that.
It would have to be somebody else if it wasn't very good, right?
That's right. Right.
The arc jacks are also very popular now this year. These heavy duty jacks allow us to basically push these obviously anywhere around the shop. But depending on the model and how you use it, as long as you're careful with them, you can do some pretty heavy duty use and abuse on these on the trails.
Oh, awesome.
In the heavy duty off road, just to help maneuver you or help you get unstuck.
Yeah, that kind of that disconnect scenario where you can use it to push around.
And if you're just the average camper going to campsites, and let's say you're not the best at backing up a trailer because you haven't towed a lot before, a wheel like this is much easier just to kind of even it out, make you kind of cheat a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair. It's like I got it close enough. Let's
right, exactly. So that's kind of the very basic front. Then this is one of our more popular options. This is what we call a fridge box. So we've got room for different sizes of refrigerators in here.
Absolutely.
We work with Truma, Dometic, Iceco, all the big name brands. Nice. This is a slightly older model of the fridge box. We're in the process of refreshing and revamping this model. Okay. Because the feedback we've been getting from customers is, hey, I've got bigger fridges, or I want dual zone fridges.
Yep. So we've got that has become like a pretty good standard, especially with the families.
Yeah, everybody wants to take, a little bit more on each trip that they go on, right? Because they kind of, as you start camping in a trailer, when you have to conserve space and kind of plan out how you're going to camp or where you're going to go, you kind of saying, hey, I need a little bit of extra of this, or I don't need this, but I need to plan for, if I want to go out for 2 or 3 more days, I'm going to need a freezer for X, Y, and Z, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So we're actually in the middle of refreshing our fridge box models right now. I don't think I have any installed, unfortunately, today, but we're actually going a little bit taller and a little bit wider to accommodate, 69 or 70 liter fridges, which are usually dual zones or, at least a week's worth of stuff.
Gotcha. That'll be perfect. Yeah. Something I did notice before we jump any further back. What the heck is this? This doesn't look like a ball hitch.
Yeah, so lock and roll, it's a fully articulating hitch. That's the trailer side. That hitch, a lot of folks get it, for security, because you can't just hitch that up to any old ball hitch. But also B, it's a fully articulating hitch, so you have 3 full degrees of motion.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And it's a permanent lock hitch, so it's basically impossible to come unhitched unless you start shearing steel or breaking a weld.
Gotcha. So extreme scenario.
Yes. Well, even from that, just, the ball hitch has kind of always been around. This is kind of the new kind of modern update on hitch technology. When I'm just driving these down the road to go to different shows or events, I like to lock and roll hitch just because I have that peace of mind. I know I'm locked in and secured.
Yep.
It's not going to bounce off if I hit a pothole or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Not saying ball hitches are bad or should be scary. It's just that extra piece of mind, that heavy duty hitch. That
comes to mind, like with the ball hitch, is that it's kind of loose. It kind of moves around a little bit. It bounces. You hear that doom doom. Right. I imagine this being that it locks in place.
Still a little noisy because you have a few more moving components, but it is that solid. Hey, I know I'm connected.
Nice.
And it also, because it articulates extra, you can get a slightly sharper curve out of it. So if you are on tighter trails, it's really good for that because you have an additional pivot point on that kind of horizontal axis.
Gotcha. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Then we kind of move to the cabin. The unique thing about any model of hiker trailer, the cabin section is pretty much identical across all models. And then all the options that we're talking about are all mix and match.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to get this size tire or this height. If you wanted something that's, 2,000 pounds or less, or 1,500 pounds or less, you can get kind of the same configuration with our models.
So a little bit of a a la carte build anything that you would need or desire.
Very, very a la carte. So in here, we're using it a little bit for storage. We just got this one back from Goal Zero. They were keeping it out in Utah in their facility. But the cabin comes in either 8 foot, 9 foot, or 10 foot lengths. This is a 9 foot trailer. And then all of our trailers in our core series are 5 feet wide.
Okay.
Some of our newer models, we've actually gone down and done a little bit smaller or narrower.
Okay.
To kind of hit that ultra lightweight target.
Yeah. And I mean, the trail guys like are going down really, really skinny trails, things like that. That makes perfect sense.
So 5 feet, that's almost a full-size queen. Technically, we're half an inch shy on the interior space of a queen mattress.
Send it back.
Well, they make them, they're called camper queens, or there's a lot of really affordable custom mattress companies.
Very cool.
There's a lot of folks that will basically get, like a tri-fold mattress, one of the thicker memory foam ones, and just, fold it up into a couch or something like that.
Gotcha.
We'll open the awning here towards the end just because that'll be a little bit more of a project. But with a teardrop or a square drop trailer like us, because there's not really any interior living space, the exterior and how you set up your base camp is very important. Because that's where your actual living space and camping space.
Yeah, all your time is going to be outside. Right. That is just the sleeping, relaxing, out of the weather.
Yeah, we like to try to tell people, think of it more, bed on wheels and then build your base camp, right? Because that's what a trailer like ours is really good for, is you can tear everything down really quickly and go to the next site. It's not like a traditional RV where you back in, you do all your hookups, you open all your stuff, and you're going to sit there for a week, right? You can do that in a trailer like this. Absolutely. But the nice thing is,
it also provides that ability to very quickly break down. And
we give you the option. You can use it however you want.
Nice.
If you want to park there for a week, perfect. You can set up all your creature comforts. If you want to, set up a quick side table like this, open your awning for lunch, and then pack up and, drive another couple 100 miles that day, you can do that same thing.
This is pretty cool. Nice and simple, just clips right on.
Yeah, that's actually one of Yakima's tables. We also have a bamboo variant, and you can actually daisy chain a couple of them together too.
Oh, cool.
So really cool kind of modular table design that we've partnered with Yakima on.
Very nice.
And then a couple things that are unique to this off-road model, if we do look at some of the other ones, we have the extra frame parts on this. So we've got the rear storage racks here behind the wheel well.
Oh, okay. This little section right here.
So people put propane tanks on there, or jerry cans, or God knows what else. Really, whatever you have, you can basically strap to it.
Right.
All of our fenders are stand-on rated, including this one. These are actually built right into the frame. And then in front here, we also have the additional brush guards. So if you are hitting the trails a little bit harder, you're not going to end up hitting the box of the trailer. You'll hit the guardrails first.
Nice.
Just a little bit of a safety feature.
I may have found a few rocks in my day.
Sure. Absolutely. We try to, trail proof them as much as we can, but if you really hit a hard trail, you can break anything on a trail.
Obviously. Yep. I can think of a few trails that cars don't even make it through.
Right.
So.
Right. And then moving to the back, every trailer will have what we call the galley, which is really just kind of your kitchen or cooking or storage space in the rear. The pass-through is a standard that's really popular. That way, if you want to grab something at night, like a snack or a drink, or maybe you have some stuff charging in the back here, you don't have to get out of your trailer. You have access to the rear galley.
Take a peek at that.
Yep, you just push the button on the top there. It'll pop right open.
Oh, I see. Oh, very nice.
And then there's a latch on the other side, so you can just pull it open from the inside very easily.
That's convenient. Very clever.
And we're incredibly custom here at Hiker. So this is our extra deep version of the galley. It's 24 inches of full storage there. We can also do a 17-inch version.
Okay.
So if you wanted more cabin space, maybe you're a taller person and want a little bit more, headroom or footroom, we can absolutely accommodate that. And then all of our basic electrical controls are back here.
Okay.
So we have kill switches. We have a breaker here because we actually have a rooftop air conditioner on this unit that runs off of 110 volts. So it's not really off-road rated.
Gotcha.
You can get several hours out of a 4,000 power station like this. That's one of the reasons Goal Zero contacted us to kind of partner and develop some tools together, is because they wanted to test, how long can we run an air conditioner off grid?
Absolutely.
Off of their new units,
Yep.
which was really useful because I think you can get about 4 or 5 hours and then slowly recharge up with some solar, depending on how much you have. Not a permanent solution, but if the campsite you go to doesn't have a good power connection, or
you can at least mitigate a little.
you can
bit.
at least take the heat out, or at least make it a day without having to worry too much.
Right. How big is the power station?
Yeah, so this is their newer 4,000 unit. So it's 4,000 watt hours of power. We also built the custom slide for it like that, so you can easily take it in and out. Because the nice thing about a power station on a trailer, it's not permanently installed like a battery system.
Right.
So in the off season, the power goes out in your house. Well, guess what? I'm just going to take this out of the trailer from the garage, plug in my fridge and freezer, and I don't have to worry about my food going bad, right?
Absolutely.
The 4,000 is one of the more popular ones. They also make a couple smaller models. This one is really going to make you last pretty much indefinitely, especially if you have some solar panels.
Right. Yeah. With
recharging
a large battery like that,
Right.
that's a whole weekend, if not 4 to 5 days worth of
Right.
power, depending on your use, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 1,500, 1,000 watts are also really popular because that's good for a week or a long weekend. And again, you can always supplement that with additional solar panels.
Absolutely.
One of the reasons we like to work with Goal Zero is because their ecosystem is very plug and play and very user friendly. And they're also based in Utah. So we've had their designers out here several times. We've gone out there, and we're always in communication with their engineers or their procurement team to just say, hey, best price, best technology,
Yep.
it's a good partnership. So we're very proud of that.
That's awesome. It's good to see you guys are, working with these different companies to create and fine tune your, your accessories.
Yeah,
and what's
we're
available
willing
for
to try to work with anybody. We obviously have our favorites and recommendations just because this is what we do every day, and we know all the people and all the players. So we can definitely help guide people in the right direction. But if you don't have Goal Zero, if it's a Blue Eddy or a Jackery or any of the other ones like EcoFlow, we've integrated those before too.
Right. I mean, they all have similar
Right.
designs.
Right.
Obviously, they all have different.
We like to say
internals,
it's
but
Coke versus
similar.
Pepsi, right?
Exactly.
Everybody has their favorite, but if the restaurant only has Coke, okay.
I'll take it.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm a Pepsi guy, by the way.
Me too.
But yeah, if you want to take a look at the electrical panel over there.
Absolutely.
So we have all of our 12-volt circuits fused, and they're just simple blade fuses, so they're easily swappable or repairable if you blow one on the field.
Convenient. You can pick it up from anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And another unique thing that we do at Hiker, which is a little bit technical, is we don't ground our 12-volt circuits to the frame. So you actually isolate your Goal Zero or your trailer battery system from your taillights and from your vehicle system. So we can do like additional DC to DC chargers, but a lot of RV manufacturers or a lot of other trailer manufacturers will actually ground all their 12-volt accessories to the frame, which then actually interacts with the car or the alternator or the car battery system as well. So we actually have kind of an air-gapped system where your trailer lights are run by the vehicle. Everything on the trailer is run by whatever power station you choose to put in the trailer.
Gotcha.
So just kind of an extra layer of security so that if a light goes out, it's not a problem with your car or your alternator. It's a problem with a blade fuse on the trailer.
Completely separate system.
Completely separate system. And because people do go off grid with these for long periods of time, there's not going to be any phantom drain from your tow vehicle.
Gotcha.
That way you're not mysteriously not able to start your car after 2 weeks and are stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, we know a lovely couple that's full-timing in one of these Hiker trailers.
Sure. We have
Very
quite
impressed.
a few folks that do that, surprisingly. Even, it's definitely a smaller unit, but we have several people that are full-timers for sure.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And then a couple other features as we move around the side here. Spare tires are usually pretty important. There's a couple different tire options in terms of lug pattern. Some people like to try to use vehicle spares for trailer tires, which you can do in some occasions. And
Nice and easy.
Yep, there'll be another stop point about halfway there. So you can
beautiful.
secure it open. And then obviously
cool.
it'll
It gives you the
itself-
different settings.
It'll
depending
secure
on-
itself closed as
depending
well.
on where you're at.
Yep. Talking a little bit about the spares again, we can match lug patterns. We do typically 5-on-5 for the Jeeps or 6-on-5.5 for kind of the
Nice.
Toyota market. We do have some luck with people if they're upgrading their tires, being able to use vehicle spares for trailer spares. But people do have to be kind of careful about the tire and wheel offset because trailer axles work a little bit differently than vehicle axles.
Okay.
So there is, most of the time they're compatible, but we can't guarantee that will always be the case.
Gotcha.
So we always recommend getting a spare if you are going to be doing a lot of off-roading or, risky terrain, or, even just on the road. It's always nice to have a spare.
Absolutely.
So
I think it's a requirement almost.
Yeah, but with us, it's an option. So if you already have a spare, or don't worry about it,
Right.
you don't have to pay the extra money as part of the base price of our trailers.
Gotcha.
To get the spare. We have the hot water shower system here, plus the shower awning. So if you want to, I'm sure you've opened these several times before, but a quick little 4x4 fold-out shower awning here.
Beautiful.
You can have your personal space here to shower. A lot of people use the fender as an additional shelf for, soap, or if you're washing dishes, it's really great as well. Propane tank obviously connects right to here. Propane's probably one of the most popular add-ons as well. The other side, you can put it over there. So if you have your cooking side over there, then your cleaning or showering side on this side of the trailer. That's usually how most people break these units down.
We've got some exterior connections, it looks like, easy.
Yeah, so right now we have our air conditioning unit plugged in because it runs off of 110. We were demoing that for a customer yesterday. So this is the new power connection for Goal Zero's high-powered panels. So for some of their larger solar panels, the 300 or 400 watt range, you can plug it right into this HVP.
We're talking about like the fold-out style.
So like
you just plug in style. And you can just set it wherever it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
Portable panels are really popular because you can park in the shade and throw them where you want. We also do mounted panels. As we kind of loop back around to the front, there's a mounted panel on the front of this unit, which allows you to charge while you drive, or if you are parked in the sun for the day, you'll charge and top off all day too.
Nice.
So a couple of power interactions here on the side, most of your inputs. We have our water output here. So it's just a quick connect. Just easily connect a coiled hose directly to your water heater, or you can just add a spray gun handle to it. Nice. And then behind this panel here is our water fill port. We actually have a 21-gallon water tank underneath here behind the axle. So you get, 21 gallons of clean water to do whatever you want. We don't rate it for potable, but if you're safe with it, you could drink out of it. It's like drinking out of a garden hose. It's just, we wouldn't recommend to do it if you're not taking care of it and keeping up with the upkeep with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's water containers. I have a 10-gallon one in my vehicle. I kind of built a little custom setup in my Xterra. But it's you got to clean out that tank at least a couple times a year.
Yeah, you got to take care of it. And with us, the nice thing is there's not a lot of winterization required for our units. Because the water tank is secured and exposed, it will obviously freeze if you don't empty it. But because we use, RV rated products, as long as you empty it, you don't have to use a bunch of antifreeze or anything like that.
Nice.
Empty all your lines, make sure you run the pump dry. You're pretty much good to go. Nice. Low maintenance is very key for us just because, at some point buying a toy like this becomes almost more of a maintenance or upkeep hobby than you do get using to enjoy it, right?
Yep.
So we want to have a nice balance where it's as low maintenance as possible. Our team can obviously guide people through all the maintenance requirements in terms of winterization or, upkeep on your seals or some of the waterproofing stuff we do underneath. Gotcha. It's very user friendly. You're talking about maybe 1 or 2 Sundays a year, just giving everything a good once over.
That's perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's for your average consumer, your average person that goes out for the weekends and stuff like that. They don't want to have, like you're saying, have this as a second hobby just to make sure it still works.
Yeah, and we're very proud that, we're kind of the entry level, kind of average consumer go-to because of our price point and how affordable our units are. So we're really good at that kind of education piece. Nice. If people want to get into overlanding or off-roading or just camping, our team's really good at, opening that door for people. Awesome. So that's kind of part of our mission for sure.
That's great. I mean, that's something that I know me and Braxton are really passionate about as we've gone through the overland world, is like there's no one thing that is the answer for everybody.
Right.
So like with the a la carte aspect and being able to piece together what you think you need and want, you can really come up with a refined product for yourself.
Yeah, and again, we don't call ourselves fully custom. I couldn't make one that's wider than what we make today. But if you come to us and say, hey, I've got this kind of crazy idea for a storage unit I want to do in the back, and you have drawings or you've mocked something up, our engineering team will take a look at that. And if it's feasible, we'll give you a price and say, hey, we think we could try it for this price, right? Nice. So we try to be as customizable as possible to really fit those different scenarios, like you mentioned. There is no perfect solution. It's kind of how you want to do it or how you think you want to do it, right? Yeah. And then if we see a lot of times too, people will watch, videos like yours or all the other folks out there and say, hey, I'm dead set on doing it this way, this way, this way. We'll help you do that. But then when you realize, hey, there are some things I want to change. I didn't realize I'm still learning. Even if you've put in the 6 months or years of research, you can always come back to us. We can help you modify it or add on a couple more things that maybe you overlooked. That sort of thing too.
Very cool. I noticed there's another door on this side, so you have it's basically a full pass through.
Yeah, this is probably our most popular option, is adding a second door. Again, it's not required, so if you are just a solo adventurer, one door is great, but depending on how campsites are set up a lot of times, depending on what side you want to get out on.
I don't want to crawl over somebody.
Right. If you're using it for more than just one person and sleeping in, I would always recommend 2 doors. It's almost a necessity at that point.
Nice. Oh, wow, that's massive storage.
Yeah, that's exclusive to the off-road model.
Okay.
So we do have underfloor storage there. Reason it's exclusive to this is just because we do have the ground clearance on this model. And most people will put, recovery boards or something that they're really never going to use that often, because you'll usually have your mattress over top of that too.
Perfect.
Yep. And then just the other side of our fridge box here. So if you didn't get a power station, we will always install our power stations inside of the trailer, because there's usually a couple rules with power stations. Don't ever get them wet. Don't ever get them too hot, right?
Yep.
But when it comes to battery systems, that's not always the case. So on this side of the fridge box here, you can see we've got an extension for additional shore power connection up here that we've kind of wired to the back as well.
Gotcha.
So you only have to plug in one place for the trailer.
Perfect.
But we could do a full battery system install in here.
Oh, okay.
Typically, we go with a 100 amp hour lithium. That's kind of the most popular size.
Yep.
We use Victron components for charge controllers and battery chargers.
Perfect.
And, we can do that full install up here. And we've done it where we do both for customers too. Sometimes people like to have that redundancy, where if they are camping, they're going to use the battery to primarily run the trailer components.
Yep.
And then they might use the power station in the back as more of a portable option. So they might take that on a day trip with them to go fishing while they leave the trailer here at base camp.
Absolutely.
That way, if your fridge is connected to the trailer battery, it's still charging, but you still have the power station to charge your phone or your laptop or whatever you're taking with you.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. That portability aspect, right? Very cool.
And then to finish it out, a couple other things here. Obviously, an additional storage rack on top. These are our passive ventilation vents. So these just obviously screw off here, and this one's going to be a little tight too because it's been on the road.
There we go.
So this is just a passive ventilation vent. There's going to be a screen in here.
I just want to point out, you can see the Utah.
You can see the Utah dust, yeah. But we do have a passive ventilation vent here on both sides. There are some portable AC options that will connect up to these with some, Home Depot dryer hose connections really easily. But the nice thing about this, with a max fan or other powered fan, if you're caught in the rain, you don't have to open a side window. You can open these, and a lot of people will just add a quick 90-degree elbow to this. So you have full airflow, but you're not getting any water or, misting inside the trailer, which is nice.
Perfect.
And then we have a Goal Zero flex panel here installed on the roof. So that is tied into the side. The newer Goal Zero units, you can use this panel and portable panels in tandem.
Okay.
As long as you don't exceed their wattage, which is really hard to do on a smaller trailer like ours. Yeah. And then obviously a powered fan, and then we have that full rooftop AC unit on top too.
Absolutely. Have you heard about the new Dometic that they're working on?
Yeah, the Dometic folks are in quite often.
Yeah.
That's a unique thing about Hiker, since we're in Indiana. All the RV parts and players are in Indiana, so we get a lot of visits really often from those guys.
Nice.
So we've been playing around with it.
I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard that it's slightly larger than a max fan, and that's kind of like the gist that I've really gotten out of it.
From what I understand, it's kind of repurposed from their 18-wheeler units, which they've had, and then they've kind of reduced it a little bit, miniaturized it some to kind of do more of the tiny camper or some of the RV market. We're not happy with the 12 volt or 24 volt AC technology at the moment.
Fair enough.
We don't do any of those installs.
Gotcha.
Just because the amount of capacity of batteries or power stations you have to put on it aren't practical.
Gotcha. What does that power look like as far as?
Realistically, you'd have to have probably 300 or 400 watts of solar consistently throughout the day to recharge a system. And then if you wanted to, you probably are at a 300 or 400 amp hours just to make that system function how most people would expect an air conditioning to function.
They want it. They want it when they want it.
On demand, anytime, any place, regardless of conditions. So it's just not practical yet. You have to make sure you get enough sun every day, and so it's.
So we can cross our fingers. Maybe a few years.
It's one of those technology things. Whoever does the breakthrough, it's going to be everywhere, right?
Yep.
So we're always watching that space because we're providing a lot of feedback to those manufacturers because of the size of our units and what our customers tell us. but nobody's really, cracked the code yet.
Gotcha. Very cool.
But the 110 units we use are really good. They're very power efficient. You can run them off of the 3,000 watt inverter on a Goal Zero or an equivalent power station, depending on the size of that power station. Like I said, you can get a few hours out of it.
Absolutely.
So,
which is great. I mean, you're out somewhere, you could run it for an hour, chill out for a bit, and then run it for an hour, chill out for a bit.
Exactly. And so that's kind of the basic hiker tour.